How to mix and mingle with ease and confidence to increase your visibility and your income. Hi, my name is Gary McKinsey, and I work with individuals to develop their skills at meeting individuals in person or digitally. But today this program is going to be focused on what do you do when you meet individuals personally. This mix and mingle. Now, a lot of individuals are uncomfortable mixing and mingling, and I get it. That's the way I was. I remember the first time that I was sent to a meeting, and I was shy. I was uncomfortable. The last thing I wanted to do was mix and mingle. And yet, I had just started my first real job out of college, and my boss had said to me, Gary, we're going to send you to where? San Diego. Now, I was excited about that. And he said, I want you to be sure and go to the before hours program. That's what he called it. What is a before hours program? Well, it was to mix and mingle. He said, you're going to meet amazing people there. That was the last thing I wanted to do. And I remember going into that meeting. Here was all these people talking. They were friendly. They were having a good time. I didn't know anyone. I didn't speak with anyone. What do I do? Well, I noticed these individuals were all going over and getting some finger food and a drink. I thought, well, I'll do that. So I went and I got the finger food and the drink, and I stood in the corner. No one talked to me. I spoke to no one. And finally I left. And I thought, I hope my boss doesn't ask me any questions. Fortunately, he didn't. And then I realized if I'm going to be successful, I have got to figure out how to mix and mingle. I'm going to share with you some of the tips and tricks that I've learned that help me, and I know they will help you. So number one, before you go to an event, know why you're going, know who you think you're going to meet, have a purpose, and then decide what are you going to talk about. What are you going to talk about after they've asked you that question? Oh, what do you do? So you want to work on answering that question. And when people ask you, what do? You want to answer very clearly and succinctly. And you want to answer with a benefit statement. Don't say, oh, I'm a vice president, or oh, I own the dry cleaners. No. If you own the dry cleaners, let me give you an example. This would be for guys. Or a dry cleaner might say, I work with individuals to make them look great. Oh, that's a benefit statement. Now I'm curious. So you answer that question, what do you do with a benefit statement? However, you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared to have a conversation. So be prepared to ask some questions, because remember, you're interesting, they're interesting, and you're going to do what? You're going to listen way more than you're going to talk. So a good question to ask is, do you live in this area? That's a yes or no question. The person may say, well, I've lived here a couple of years. Oh, that's interesting. What brought you to this area? And they'll say, well, I used to live in, and they'll give you where they used to live, and then they'll go on and they'll tell you something about their journey, what took place, and you're listening for things to talk about. Then another nice question you can ask is, oh, well, when you're not busy, what else do you do? What are your hobbies? People love to talk about their hobbies. So talk about their hobbies. And they will ask you some questions also. However, you're listening. You're just listening for those points. You want to be you'll have a conversation with that person. And what are they going to say to you? Man, that person is a great conversationalist. They're so good at talking with people. You were a great listener. However, they felt you were a great conversationalist. What were you doing? You were respecting them. You were showing them you had respect for that individual. And you're building what we'll call know, like, and trust. Because when people trust you, they want to do business with you. So this is a real key point. And now when you're at a situation of an after-hours meeting, let's say at a Chamber of Commerce, a mixer, you're not going to have long time to talk with anyone. However, so you get your comments together and you have those brief little conversations. And then at the end of the meeting, you want to be able to follow up. So you say to that person, gee, it's really enjoyed visiting with you. May I exchange a business card with you? Or may I connect with you on LinkedIn? And then if they give you their business card, great, make a note on it. And when you get back to your office, send them a connection request. Or send them an email. Say, gee, I really enjoyed meeting with you at, state where you met them at, and state something about what your conversation was. That makes you stand out. Because remember, they might get a number of emails from individuals they met. And if the person just says, oh, I really enjoyed meeting you at XYZ program last night, well, that's nice. But if you say, I enjoyed visiting with you at XYZ program and hearing about your trip, hearing about you identify what you talked about, that makes you memorable. That makes you a person of interest. And they want to do business and work with people of interest. Then we talk about following up. If it's on LinkedIn, follow up on LinkedIn. The method is exactly the same. You want to follow up, identify where you met that person, something about the conversation, and then maybe ask them a question, such as, what projects are you working on? Or what do you have planned for the rest of the year? This is key to making that great contact with the individual. And this is part of just when you're mixing and mingling. Now, many times individuals will say to me, you know, Gary, I want to improve my mixing and mingling skills. However, I'm not self-employed. I work for a company, and I want to improve my visibility. How in the world do I do that? Here is the answer. First of all, we all go to a lot of meetings, right? Right. So before you go to a meeting, give some thought to who's going to be there and what the topics are probably going to be about. After all, you know why you're there. You've been invited, and you have an idea of the topic. So go in prepared with an opinion. Walk into the meeting, not late. You want to be the first one in the meeting. And when you walk in, typically the person that's running the meeting is already there. You want to smile at that person and make eye contact. And then choose where you're going to be seated. This is really important. And the goal is, if the individual that's running the meeting is going to be seated here, usually at the head of the table, you want to be seated somewhere close to them. And that way, when individuals are looking at that person running the meeting, they're also seeing you. And from time to time, look at the audience and make eye contact with the other individuals. And now, remember, you're there to help the company and help the presenter, help the boss, whatever term you want to give that individual. Well, here's the key. You're listening to what they're saying. You're not frowning. You're listening, you're paying attention, you're making eye contact. And then there's a point where they're going to ask for questions or opinions. That's where you want to raise your hand or whatever the protocol is in your organization. And you're not going to challenge the presenter. You're going to ask a question. And your question might be, have you thought of this? Or as you were speaking, and I agree with what you're saying, and I'm wondering if, and then make your statement. This helps you gain visibility. Now, even if the presenter, the manager, the boss, doesn't agree with you, you ask a question. You show that you were thinking, you were involved. And the other individuals also notice you. This helps you increase your visibility within the organization. So be prepared. And after the meeting, if it's appropriate to follow up with your email or a text message, whatever the protocol is within your company, do it. Follow up and do it. You want to be visible. You want to be seen as a team player, that someone wants to help the company achieve its goals. And also one other thing, don't forget you want to create relationships within your company. So I suggest you try this. And this is a great thing to try on Monday morning. Because what are people doing Monday morning? They're coming to work, and where are they gathering? Well, quite often at some point they're going through the cafeteria or they're going to the kitchen and they're getting a cup of coffee. Here's a time when you can have a short snippet of a conversation with that individual and make a great point and increase your visibility. And here's what you do. You don't say, "Oh, how was your weekend?" They're going to give you a pat standard answer. "It was okay." That doesn't create a conversation. Instead, ask a question like, "Oh, what exciting thing did you do over the weekend?" And then pause. And now, they're not used to answering that question. They're going to pause. They're going to maybe look at the ceiling. And they'll say, "Well, you know, I did do," and they'll tell you what they did. And now you have a chance to have a conversation with that person. You're showing that you were interested with them. You have respect for them. Now, they may or may not ask you what you did, and that's okay, because the goal is for you to get to know them and for them to build trust with you. So this is a great exercise to try. And Monday morning, I suggest Monday mornings are a great time. And also be prepared. When someone turns the tables on you and they say to you, "Oh, what exciting thing did you do?" Don't pause and say, "I don't know, same old, same old." No. Be prepared with something you did. And even if you don't think of it as exciting, that's okay. Don't worry if they think it's exciting. Answer the question. It could be nothing more than, "You know, I mowed my lawn." Or, "We went to the mall." Or, "We went out to dinner." "You know, I just had a nice walk." That's okay. That's something that's fun, that you enjoyed, and it helps you build what? Connection. And that's what you're wanting to do. So this is part of this mix and mingle with ease and confidence to increase your visibility and to build your business. This is Gary McKinsey. I enjoy speaking with you. And if you have questions about how you can mix and mingle with ease and confidence, I invite you to contact me. I'd love to talk with individuals about communication skills. So just send an email to me and I'll be glad to talk with you, or go to my website, and on my website all you have to do is in the contact section just write in "mix and mingle" and I will get back with you. So this is Gary McKinsey saying I want to thank you for investing your most valuable asset, your time, to spend this time with me to pick up some tools and techniques that you can use to mix and mingle with ease and confidence.